point of view, you have still decided to build for yourself a new gaming PC because you want an ultimate machine even after all the news of market instability. You have spent weeks picking the parts. You have spent a month's salary on that GPU, and now it's build day. But one tiny slip up, like a piece of plastic you didn't see, could literally melt your CPU. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Tech in a Nutshell. Today, we are covering some of the most common mistakes so you don't turn your dream rig into an expensive paperweight. And yes, myself was guilty of committing some of these mistakes too. The very first tip I want to share with you is related to your monitor. There's always a saying that you should first decide your screen, then your machine. Most people build a PC backwards. They spend 3 weeks obsessing over GPU benchmarks, they drop a hefty amount on a graphic card, and then they realize they've got a quarter of the budget left for a monitor. That is like buying a Ferrari and driving it on a dirt road. Your monitor is the only part of your setup you actually look at. It is the literal window into your digital world. Your monitor sets the difficulty level for your PC. If you pick a 4K monitor, you have just committed to buying a high-end GPU like an RTX 4080 or 4090. If you try to run 4K on a budget card, your frame rate will look like a slideshow. Conversely, if you only want to play at 1080p, buying a top-tier PC is a total waste of money. You are paying for power you'll never see. Pick the resolution you want to look at, and your PC parts list will practically write itself. If you invest in a high quality OLED or a high refresh rate IPS panel now, it will outlast your next 2 PC builds. Don't cheap out on the one thing that doesn't become obsolete by next holiday. Coming on to the second mistake, and this one I've done it myself. It's overspending on the motherboard. This is the biggest scam in the PC building. People will drop a huge amount on a motherboard and then realize they can only afford an RTX 4060. They just traded 50% of their actual gaming performance for a piece of plastic with premium written on it. Back in 2020, when I was building my first real gaming computer, myself opted for X570 motherboard for my Ryzen 5 3600 and RTX 2070 Super, instead of going for much suitable and budget-friendly AM4 socket options such as B450 or B550, and could have used the money I've saved on a better case, better RAM or storage. Unlike your GPU or CPU, the motherboard doesn't process your game, it's just a hub. If you put a Ryzen 7800X 3D on a budget B650 board versus a high-end X670E, your FPS will be identical in 99% of cases. If you are overspending on the board and underspending on the graphic card, you are literally throwing away performance. Marketing will try to sell you on extreme overclocking or 10GB Ethernet. Ask yourself, are you actually going to liquid nitrogen overclock your CPU? Do you even have a 10GB internet plan? Most users only need 4 to 6 USB ports, a decent audio codec, and Wi-Fi 6E. You can get all of that on a mid-range Asus TUF or MSI Tomahawk for half the price of the elite models. People say I'm buying an expensive board to future-proof. But sockets change unless you are on AMD's AM5 platform, which promises support for a few years. Your motherboard will likely be useless for your next major CPU upgrade anyway. Buy for what you need now, not for a maybe in 2029. Here is the rule of the thumb. Your motherboard should never cost more than your CPU. On to the third mistake people do, though it's been not so common nowadays as people are getting much smart, is cheap out on power supply. This is the final boss of PC building advice. If the motherboard is the infrastructure, the power supply is the heart. And when the heart fails, it takes everyone else down with it. You spend huge sum on a GPU, you spend a decent money on a CPU, and then you decided to save some pennies by buying a no-name 700 watt power supply from a random seller online. Congratulations, you just built a time bomb. When a CPU fails, your PC stops working. When a power supply fails, it rarely dies alone. High quality units from brands like Corsair or Cooler Master have protection circuits that acts like a shield. A cheap PSU like these, when it pops, it can send a massive surge of high voltage electricity straight into your motherboard and GPU. You didn't save some pennies, you just lost your whole goddamn PC. The way I lost my hair. That was such an irrelevant pun. Anyway, don't trust the wattage on the box of a cheap PSU. Cheap manufacturers lie about peak power. A generic 700 watt unit might actually struggle to deliver 400 watt consistently. Look for the 80 plus rating. It's not just about your electric bill, it's about heat. A gold or platinum rated PSU wastes less energy as heat, meaning it runs cooler, quieter, and lasts way longer. High-end GPUs like the RTX 40 series have transient spikes, tiny microseconds where they pull way more power than advertised. A cheap PSU can't handle that ripple. This leads to random blue screens, game crashes, or your PC just shutting off in the middle of a boss fight. If your PC is crashing for absolutely no reason, check your power supply first and check the warranty. A good manufacturer will give you a 7 to 10 year warranty. If a company only offers 1 year, they don't even trust their own product. So why should you? The fourth problem I believe is the most common mistake people do is not giving enough attention to their accessories. This is the tactile part of the build. You spend a huge amount on a PC to generate pixels, but you interact with those pixels through your hands. If your mouse sensor skips or your keyboard feels like mush, the high FPS doesn't matter. You have a 240Hz monitor and an RTX 4090, but you are using a mouse with a sensor from an old era and a keyboard that feels like typing on wet sponges. You are literally bottlenecking your own body. People obsess over internal specs, but your peripherals are your interface with the digital world. A cheap mouse has two massive flaws: weight and sensor accuracy. Budget mice have angle snapping and jitter, meaning they try to guess where you're moving. Investing in a Logitech G Pro or a Razer Viper gives you a flawless sensor and a lightweight build. It makes your aim feels like an extension of your arm, not a struggle against a plastic brick. You use your keyboard for everything: gaming, school, work. Why settle for okay? Cheap membrane keyboards lose their tactile feel after a year. Stepping up to hot swappable mechanical keyboards lets you customize the feel. Linear for speed, tactile for typing, plus high-end keyboards have better polling rates, meaning your key press reaches the PC faster. It's the difference between "I think I pressed it" and "I know I did." If you are a controller gamer, stick drift is your worst enemy. Standard controller use potentiometer that wears out. Spending a bit more on a controller with Hall effect sensors that uses magnets instead of the physical contact means your sticks will never drift. It's a one-time purchase that saves you from buying 3 replacements over the next 2 years. I've done a video a few weeks ago of one of such controller, 8BitDo Ultimate 2C. You can check out that video if you want. The link of that video is in the description. You don't feel your CPU, you don't touch your GPU, but you touch your mouse and keyboard every single second you're at your desk. Don't build a Lamborghini and put a plastic steering wheel in it. What's the one accessory you'll never go back to cheap version of? For me, it's a keyboard. Let me know yours in the comment section. The last mistake sometimes people do might be a bit controversial for many people, but when it comes to me, I can't get this hype around these shiny, expensive liquid cooler for your CPU. A massive liquid cooler is just expensive eye candy that adds unnecessary risk. This looks cool, right? It's flashy, it's liquid cooled, and it's expensive. But for most of you watching this, buying one of these is the biggest mistake you can make in your build. This metal tower isn't expensive. It will never leak and it will keep your PC just as cool. The all-in-one liquid cooler has a ticking clock. It uses a mechanical pump to move liquid. Pumps eventually die, bearings wear out, and liquid eventually evaporates through the tubes. An air cooler? It's a block of metal and a fan. If the fan dies in 5 years, you spend some bucks on a new one and you are back in business. If an AIO pump dies, the whole unit goes in the trash. Unless you are running an i9 or a Ryzen 9 at max overclock, you do not need water. Modern air coolers from Thermalright or Noctua are so efficient they can handle almost any gaming load silently. You are paying an aesthetic tax for the liquid. That money you could have spent on a fast SSD or a better RAM. Look, if you're building a showpiece PC or using a 14900K for 3D rendering, fine, get the liquid. But for the average gamer, save your money. Buy a Peerless Assassin air cooler and spend the rest of your budget on parts that actually gives you more FPS. That's it for now, folks. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, you can consider subscribing to the channel and liking this if you really found it useful or informative. Also, there might be dozens of other mistakes people often do, such as buying an Intel CPU for an AMD board or DDR4 RAM for a DDR5 motherboard, buying a massive graphic card that won't fit in your mini ITX case, forgetting to peel the protective film off the bottom of the CPU cooler, putting two RAM sticks right next to each other, buying 6000 MHz RAM but letting it run at standard 4800 MHz, and many more. If you or anyone you know encounter such problem or any other that I forgot to mention, or if you disagree with any of the statement I made, please let me know in the comments. Till then, take care of yourself and your loved ones. You can follow me on Instagram if you want. I'll see you in another video, probably related to some PC stuff or gaming, I guess. Bye bye for now.